Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and posse. I'm your host, Tiffany, and we are getting into the details of making next level money. I'm just going to give it to you straight on the truth of what is and isn't required for you to achieve that next level wealth. Some of it, you probably aren't going to like the truth, but you come to me to get it regardless. You know, I could sit here and tell you, oh, it's all about, energetics and rolling oils on yourself and really, learning more about the law of attraction and focusing all on inner healing. And there's just more to it than that when you want to go next level. The blunt part of all of it is if you want next level anything in your life, next level friendships, next level love, next level health, next level wealth, you have to be willing to take next level action, which is going to bring up next level shit. It's going to bring up all of your insecurities, all of your fears, all the holes in the areas of personal development that you still need to work on. It'll bring up everything. And you have to take a look at this stuff and show up and do it anyway. You have to actually show up and do the thing, whether you're ready, whether you know what you're doing, whether you feel like it or not, if you want to reach the next level in that particular area of abundance in your life. And I'm focusing on money for this episode, but it does apply to other areas of your life. The same premise applies. In order for me to have had my largest year in ProjectME with Tiffany Carter to date for 2021, and for me to pretty much keep doubling my revenue in this company. In order for me to have done that, it didn't just happen because, my audience got bigger, I have more engagement, my email list is larger, or I just have done it longer, I met the right people. There's a little bit of that. I'm not going to say having a larger quality email list, having a larger quality audience can't yield more sales. It'd be bullshit not to say that, right? That'd be like saying a restaurant's making more money isn't making more money because they have more great customers. Of course, that does help. But what it took to reach those big numbers, what it took to get to that $1 million of revenue and continuing to grow without me working 10 hours a day. I mean, really, at the most, I work 5 focused hours a day, 4 days a week, and then a couple hours, like 2 hours on Saturday, 2 hours on Sunday by choice. And when I say like those are days, Saturday and Sundays, those are my creative days where I map out content, I create content, I come up with podcast topics, I do writing, things like that, which I genuinely enjoy. I mean, lately, I really don't want to have to do anything. So nothing I enjoy. Like, as much as I love you guys, I don't even feel like recording this right now. I would rather be eating the new containers of white cheddar popcorn. Shout out Heather, my client, who sent me from, I think it's from the Popcorn Factory. It's like gourmet white cheddar popcorn. Like, it's next level from my Smart Food popcorn. And she sent it to me, which is very sweet. And I love her and hate her for it. and there's 2 containers. One container was almost gone within 10 minutes of me opening it. I'm like, these have to be hidden somewhere in my house so they're not in eyesight, because then my stomach hurt because I ate God knows how many handfuls of this popcorn, but it was highly satisfying. That's really all I feel like doing. Quite frankly, today, it's all I felt like doing yesterday and the day before. I'm in a season where I'm processing a lot of stuff emotionally. We've got holidays. I've got heavy shit going on in my personal life. It all feels like a lot. I want to hibernate like a bear. And I have a choice to make. If I want that next level cash and I want to help the next level amount of people get consistent clients and cash online doing what they love, if I want to do that, then I'm going to have to next level show up, which means showing up when you don't feel like it. That doesn't mean you're always going to be your best. I'm not at my best right now, but I'm here for it. I'm showing up right now. I'm wearing mismatched pajamas and green Christmas socks, and I'm hunched over the kitchen island at the beach house in a very awkward, uncomfortable position, and I'm too lazy to move. And I'm trying to medicate with caffeine and white cheddar popcorn. And that's the best I've got right now, and that's enough. And I'm showing up. That's my point is but it does take next level discipline and determination to show up regardless, and vulnerability. It's easy to show up when you feel like it, when you feel you look good, you feel good, your brain feels sharp. It's much harder to show up when you're not at your best. It's vulnerable. You don't feel like, you don't want to, you don't know what to write, you don't know what to talk about. Well, you're not going to get to next level cash unless you show up in a next level way. I also invested more in my business in 2021 than I ever have before. I'm talking heavy money in my business. So you're going to have to do that too. It's not just mentally, spiritually, physically, financially. You've got to pour in. And I don't mean you pour in where you are putting in so much time and hustling and depleting, but you have got to put your money where your mouth is. If you really want to get to where you want to get, are you willing to invest in it? Are you willing to invest in yourself? Are you willing to invest in the help in order to create this plan, in order to know exactly what steps to take and what to execute every day? This is why I have opened early the applications for 2021 for my private 2-month coaching program, because I knew I was doing this episode, and I know there's a lot of you being at the end of 2021. I think I said 2021 applications. You know I meant 2022. Listen, this is the best I've got, people. But I know a lot of you are sitting here at the end of this year and you've not gotten to where you wanted to go. Maybe you made some strides, but you're not where you want to go. You know where you want to go. You don't know how to get there. You've started to see some of your patterns where you get into analysis paralysis. You don't fully show up. You go 3 steps forward, 5 steps back. You're watching all these other people hit these major milestones, and you're like, I know it can be me, but why isn't it me? And what am I missing? What am I not doing? What am I doing wrong? Well, don't trick your brain into thinking that you're taking action and doing something by worrying, obsessing, and analyzing. That doesn't work. You need to take real action and hire real people. So that's why I opened the apps early. It's for 2022. I only take maximum of 6 people at a time privately. Period. End of story. No exceptions. So to go to the application, you can go into my link in my bio, my Instagram, ProjectME with Tiffany. I will also include it here in the show notes, so you can just swipe up to apply. But you have to be at a point where you're ready, where you're like, this is scary, but I want that next level money, and I'm not going to sit around and kind of toe dipping and hoping it's going to happen and trying to will it to happen. I'm going to really treat my business like a business and go for it. I mean, can you imagine, would you invest in, let's just say it was a clothing boutique, okay? Would you invest in a clothing boutique that had zero clear plan on getting customers in the door and then getting those customers to come back again and again and again. And if you ask them what their plan was, they're like, well, I got a storefront on like a good street, so I know people will see it and my stuff's good. So I'm hoping there's going to be word of mouth. And yeah, we'll have like an Instagram. So people will probably see us through that. Would you give them your hard-earned cash and invest in that? Of course you wouldn't. So why would you expect the universe to bestow abundance upon you when you don't have a concrete, clear plan that you feel good about, that you feel confident in, that you know that will work? It's not going to happen. And it's scary. It really is. The other side of getting to that next level money is doing next level work on yourself. This is why 80% of people who win the lotto go bankrupt within a year. Isn't that crazy? This is why you see sports athletes who, just get signed and they get these mega $20-some million contracts and they sabotage it by getting in a drunk driving accident or a domestic violence thing, or, doing something that gets them kicked off the team or suspended. Then they end up losing it all, or they lose all their sponsorships. Look what happened to remember what happened to Tiger Woods, and he lost all of his sponsorships. I mean, he's still okay, but still, that guy's reputation will never be the same. It's because when you want to go to a next level amount of money, if you have not conditioned yourself to believing you're worthy of it and you're deserving of it and you can handle it and it's a good thing that you have it, you will subconsciously do things to sabotage it to where you'll lose it. And I did that. After I had the goal of having $1 million in the bank by the time I was 30 years old, I achieved that. And within 3 months, almost all of it was gone. And it had nothing to do with me not being a hard worker, disciplined, knowing how to make money. It had nothing to do with that. I felt uncomfortable with that. I was not conditioned to have that money. I didn't feel worthy of it. I didn't feel deserving. I felt like a fraud. Who am I to have this? There was a lot of self-doubt and judgment. I had lots of money stories that if I didn't, if I wasn't constantly helping people, now that I've been rewarded with this wealth, and that made me a horrible person. So then what happened? People, it's funny, takers can sniff when you've got cash. You ever notice that? They can smell that out. Even if you're not like rich, but you've got you can pay your bills, you got some money. Takers can sniff that, whether they're blood relatives or strangers. They can. And let me tell you, people could sniff that I had cash. They could sniff the tiff. And I had people from high school that I knew. I had old business acquaintances, people off LinkedIn, more people asking me for money, having very dire stories. And I kept writing checks because I thought, well, God is having these people come to me because they need help. And if I don't write them the check, then that means I'm like a selfish, money-hungry, hoarding bitch. This is really how I talk to myself. And that I'm a horrible person, so I have to give them the money, or why else would they be coming to me with money? Didn't listen to any of my gut instincts, my intuition, nothing, kept writing checks. I've shared the full story on my podcast on Chris Harder's show. So if you want to hear like the full nitty-gritty detail, just Google, Tiffany Carter on the Chris Harder podcast, or Tiffany Carter on For the Love of Money podcast, because he did a recent branding change. So For the Love of Money and Tiffany Carter, it'll show up on there. It's a very popular episode, and you'll hear all the details because Chris is just a phenomenal interviewer. He got me to share more than I was even comfortable sharing. And I ended up trusting people and ignoring red flags, and I lost almost all of it. And it was all stemmed down to, I felt so uncomfortable with that kind of wealth. So if we don't do that inner work, if we don't work on those money beliefs, those money stories, the inner dialogue around you and money and you and success and you and wealth, you will end up so sneakily. Is that even a word? It is now. 0 fucks given. I really am at ZFG today. We're on a whole nother of ZFG, and you can just tell by how I look. If I've already gone outside on the balcony. Well, it's not really a balcony. It's a deck. It's a very large deck. But I've already gone out on the deck because I needed to like spray it down so it doesn't smell like, because the dogs, will pee out there so it doesn't smell. And I already went out there. I didn't even want to go outside. I just want to hide and hibernate. And I was out there and, I'm right on the ocean. So obviously there's activity and people who go by, and I was like, oh my God, I look fucking crazy. Like I look crazy. I mean, I'm wearing I don't even know what I'm wearing. I'll put it to you like that. I don't know what I'm wearing. And I had like zit medication on my face when I was out there. I used this like spot treatment stuff that's like a sulfur, kind of like a paste. I looked crazy. And I also didn't care. That's when you're at like next level, is when it's like, I really have no shame in my game. I have no energy to care. And then I'm like proceeded to like tell myself I'm not going outside again today. I need to hide from the world, because it wouldn't take much for one person to like cut me off, or someone to pull a Karen, for me to like unleash all of my emotions all on one person. It's better for me to be in like a padded room today. Seriously. But you've got to do that deeper level inner work, that inner child work, the worthiness that's attached with wealth, and not just wealth, but the ease of getting wealth, how you get the wealth, the joy of it, having the options. Because this is why these people win the lotto, these people get these big contracts. They weren't conditioned for it. They hadn't done the inner work. They hadn't been conditioning themselves for the wealth that they wanted, right? They did all the work around wanting it and even worked for getting it, but they didn't prepare themselves for it. And then you end up not being able to hold on to it. You might be able to attract the money, but you certainly won't hold on to it, or you're not going to be able to attract it at all. And you're just constantly repelling it, because deep down, there's a part of you that doesn't feel like you're capable of it, deserving of it. It feels uncomfortable and awkward and unfamiliar to you. It's more familiar for you to be a broke ass. It's more familiar for you to be in debt. It's more familiar for you to be up against it. Even though you don't like it, it's just more familiar. And and when something's familiar, it's more comfortable, even if it's not ideal for us. And then if you believe that that's where you're at, this is like my lot in life, this is where I'm at, you're going to attract more people, places, things, circumstances that validate it. So you've got to do that next level work, and I am doing it. I mean, I have crazy amounts of money going out. I mean, I just paid $145,000 in taxes just for the fourth quarter of 2021. I'm doing everything I'm telling you right now. I'm having to do this work on myself every day, all day, because then my brain goes, oh my God, I'm going to have to work a lot harder, because I need to bring in more money, because now I'm bringing in another team member, and this is growing, and I'm going to have to do more, and more is going to be required of me. And then I have to stop myself and catch myself, because that is a very deeply buried belief for me, that more time and energy and more of Tiffany doing more things that tire her is going to be required in order for me to make more impact and generate more wealth. And it's not true, but my body believes that to be true. It automatically goes back there. And I have to be disciplined enough to take inventory of my thoughts and how my body feels. Otherwise, I could slip back in there. And for me, I'll get into like that, my fear and panic. I'll start not thinking clearly. I'll start overworking. And then how it sabotages me is I'll start overworking, overgiving, over-delivering. I start getting resentful of my business. I start working too much. I lose my creativity. I lose my fun. I lose my zest. I lose my zeal, so to speak, for my business. And then I kind of crash and burn. And I have to take regular inventory so I don't go into that loop, because that's an old pattern. But you're going to have next level bills and next level money going out when you have next level money coming in. You're going to have way more coming in than you go out. That's facts. But to think you're not going to have to spend more to get it, that's a lie. And anyone who's trying to sell you on the fact that you don't have to invest more money or spend more money to make more money is a scam. Or as my best friend says, is a fucking con. I love when she says it. I want to make like a ringtone. I don't even know if you can make ringtones on your phone anymore. Remember when that was like such a thing where you'd set like a song for a specific person, for the ringtone, and it was a vibe. I don't know if you can do that anymore. I would love for certain people when they text or something for it to be, they're a fucking con. There's no other way around it. You are going to have to spend money to make money. I hired new higher level team members. That cost me tens and tens of thousands of dollars. I hired a new high level coach for myself. That cost tens of thousands of dollars. Invested in having new platforms. That cost me a lot of money. I've put in a lot of extra money this year, mostly in additional people helping me, in coaching and in doing, and setting up kind of like techie type systems and stuff like that behind the scenes. Oh yeah, big money, more than I've ever spent. I'm sitting right now I'm spending $15,000 a month to live and work out of where I'm at. Now, am I in the hole? No. I've made more than I've ever made, and I've spent more than I've ever spent. So you have to also not just get comfortable with receiving next level cash. You have to find a way to get comfortably uncomfortable with spending it. And stop fucking around with these low-level programs. Oh, I can manage this because there's a payment plan and I can do this. I'm not saying there isn't some value, but you really want what you say you want, you need to make a next level investment. Go for working with me privately instead of spending money that'll end up adding to what that will cost over time. You could have just gone right for the Holy Grail and made your money back when you've been spending time on all these lower price things that felt less scary to you. This might be a bad analogy, but I don't know. We'll see. Let's use someone starting like a bakery, for example. I'm watching lots of weird baking reality competition shows. No idea why. It's very comforting to me right now. And let's say you started a bakery. So do you think you didn't have that much money? You wanted to be careful with the money you spent. You were able to get a business loan, and you have a choice of buying equipment for your bakery. You could buy like solid top of the line stuff that would most likely last decades, or you could save money since, you're new and you don't know if you're going to make money at the bakery or not yet. And you could buy like lower level equipment or used equipment. And then, when I start making more money, I'll upgrade. Two different mindsets of people that are doing that. You want to be in the mindset of, no, I want to get the best. I'm not going to be ridiculous and buy like some extravagant, crazy French version of the best, right? And it's not that much different. But I do want to buy top of the line that's going to last me because I know this bakery is going to be a great success and is going to be around. And I want to do everything possible to set myself up for it. That's the mindset of a next level money person, next level abundance person. But the person who goes, well, I'll just get like the used stuff or like the lower level stuff. And I know it probably will only last like 2-3 years at the most. But then when I start bringing in more money, then I can upgrade. Well, look at the mindset of that person. They're not really underneath it all 100% confident this is going to be a success. I wouldn't want to invest in a business owner who's not 100% confident they're going to make it a success. Would you want to marry a person who's like, well, we'll see how this works in a couple of years? Like, would you want to marry someone who's not 100% confident they're going to do whatever it takes to make it work? No. Do you see the difference in that mindset? And on one hand, you could go, well, I can understand how the person's logically thinking of, maybe upgrading in a few years. Yeah, you could. I could see it too. I'm a very conservative, logical person to the point where it's been to my detriment of being a cheap ass, which is why I feel like I can, share and preach to you guys not to do that. Because when you peel it back, what's below all of it is, well, it might not work. So I wouldn't want to put all that money on the line and then have it not work and then I'm out all that money. That's what's below all that. Very different. So ask yourself the question, what are the actions I would take? Who would I hire? What would I buy? What actions would I take knowing that I am going to, without a doubt, do everything in my power to make this a success, and it's going to be? Would you hire me as your coach? You'd be stupid not to. Would you hire a VA? Yes. And I'm not saying to where you're stupid about it and you go and spend $100,000 that you don't have. I'm saying don't go crazy with that. But very strategically, you want the best so you can have the best and the biggest return. You can't toe dip and get next level money. It just doesn't work like that. I've tried it. I've tried to have it both ways. It'd be like entering a relationship where you're kind of like half in, not all in, because you're trying to protect your heart, so you're guarded. But then you want the all-in benefits of a relationship. I think all of us have been on both sides of that. I know I have, and it feels like shit. Because you want all the love and you want all the passion, you want all the things. But you can't get that unless you go all in with it. And it takes both people to go all in with it. I'm filled with analogies today, aren't I? That one didn't probably work as well as the bakery. I like the bakery analogy. That was pretty solid. I'm like down for some baked goods right now. Let's pray I don't come out of this holiday season 50 pounds heavier. We need to pray on that for a moment. What are you going to do to get that next level money? The catch is you got to be willing to take next level action. It's going to bring up next level shit. But if you want what you say you want, that's what you got to do. Otherwise, you can stay right where you're at, stay in comfortably uncomfortable land and toe dipping. And if that's where you want to stay, I'm okay with that too. But if you want more and you're trying to have your cake and eat it too, well, now that's just annoying. Now we've got to stop that. We can't take that into 2022 because life doesn't work like that. I wish it did. Believe me. I wish it did. It would feel a lot easier and safer, and that'd be wonderful. It doesn't work like that in any area of our lives, does it? This is Donation December, so remember, leave a 5-star written Apple podcast review of the show. Leave your name or your Instagram handle inside of the review. DM me on Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany, preferably with a screenshot so we know you left the review. And I will be donating $20 to Children of the Night. That helps rescue women and children from sex trafficking on your behalf. And then I'm going to match that with an additional $20. So $40 total just for you taking 90 seconds of your time to leave a 5-star written review of the show will go to help pull more women and children off the streets and out of the hands from these monsters. And I so appreciate you guys taking the time to do this for about 1,000 different reasons. Wishing you guys great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.